Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Last Son. On this channel, we like to play sports management sims. I have a Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 sim going on right now with Black Canvas Grappling. This is out of the Park Baseball 25, and we're going to take on the Cincinnati Reds. And this is Reds Rebirth. And today's episode, we're going to go over the team and we're going to talk about who we're wanting to keep, what we're going to try to build around, make a few roster moves to, make the roster more to my liking. And then we'll get into the season and sim at least the first month of the season and get to the end of April. And we'll see what we're record wise, what we're looking like, and how we're going to go approach the rest of the season after that. So we'll go ahead and look at the mail we got from Robert Castellini here. He wants us to play close to 500 ball this season. I think we can do that. Improve team chemistry, increase fan interest, and keep building our team up to reach the playoffs in the 5 seasons, sometime within the next 5 seasons. I think we can do that, no problem. Let's take a look here at our roster. Um, I'm just going to actually probably go into lineups here and just go down the positions right now. So we have at our catcher, we have Tyler Stevenson. He's our starter. Um, he's pretty decent all around. As you can see in 2023, he had 13 home runs, had a 243 average, 317 on base percentage. His defense is kind of just average. I think it's a little bit better than what OOTP here has, but when you look at our catching situation between him and Luke Malley, I think we're pretty good right now. We do have when we get into the prospects, you'll see we have a young prospect, very young. I think he's like only 18 or 19. So we may want to look at developing a catcher with really good defense. This is a position if you get a little bit out of it, from the bat, it's just that's the icing on the cake. You really want somebody who's really good defensively. I like to have my teams, strong up the middle here. So catcher, shortstop and second base and center field. So first base here we have Christian Encarnacion Strand. Really, really excited about a bunch of these players, but he's one of them. Obviously, Ellie De La Cruz is one of them. Um, Matt McLean. I like Spencer Steer. So we're going to try to base the build around Strand and De La Cruz, and Spencer Steer, Matt McLean, and then we'll look at some of our pitchers that I'm pretty excited about. But I mean, Strand Encarnacion Strand here, he's got pretty good defense. He's got decent 50 is average contact, above average power, and that bat could improve a little bit more. Last year as a rookie, he had 13 home runs, 270 average, 328 on base percentage. Unfortunately, he has the I don't know if it's the honor, but he is going to be filling in for Joey Votto, who moved on after his I think Hall of Fame worthy career in Cincinnati. So he's got some big shoes to fill, even though in the past few years Votto's not really been at that high level, but his character, his leadership, things like that were very important to the Reds. So we have Edwin Rios here, who is a one that might be potentially heading down. He can play first, he can play third and left field. He can also DH for us. He's been kind of all around the major leagues. He's been with the Dodgers, the Cubs, probably I think even with like the Blue Jays at one time. Um, right now, Matt McLean is out injured, so we have Santiago Espinal. He's good with the glove. He's got a good bat. Very little power, but that's okay. He's got a decent eye. And we have Jonathan India, the former Rookie of the Year, who um, is pretty, just he's a decent ball player. He's got decent, defense, really good eye, average power, average bat. I mean, he's going to give you probably 17 to 20 home runs, potentially an average in the 250s, probably. I'm hoping at the very least. He can also play third base. He started out as a third baseman before the Reds moved into second, so we'll see if he can fill in there if needed. At third base, we have Yamer Candelario, the big signing. The Reds, 15 million, 4 years left. I don't understand why in real life the Reds signed Candelario because we had all these, young, talented infielders, and we couldn't even keep Votto because we wanted to give these guys playing time. Then we go out and get this guy. I hope he has, a pretty good season. As you can tell, he's kind of like Jonathan India, but makes $12 million more. Um, Defense isn't, the greatest for the, the hot corner. I mean, he's got an arm, that's good. But this move puzzles me as a Reds fan. But we'll see how it turns out in OOTP. Ellie De La Cruz, the guy I really want this whole build to be based around one of the guys. Plays really good at, third base. I'm not really sold as him as a shortstop yet. I mean, 50 rating, the range, I'd like to see that higher. Obviously, he has the arm. The speed is going to be there. The bat, I think, will, hopefully, will get more contact and power out of Ellie as he, gets a little bit. He's only 22, and so this might be a player I would try to lock up if he keeps, having a really good season, buy out some of those arbitration years at a lower price before he, balloons into that 15, 20 million a year player. So that's our infielders. In the outfield, we're gonna have Spencer Steer starting in left. Spencer, last year had 23 homers, 271 average. He was really good as a rookie for us. He's got a pretty decent bat. He can play second, third, short, and left field DH for us. I'm really not upset with Spencer Steer in left. I think left field is a position you can kind of put almost anybody in there. So I'm happy to see what Spencer can do for us in a year or two. Stuart Fairchild, he's going to kind of play all the positions in the outfield. As you can see, he's got really pretty good range. He can play a center field for us, and his bat is pretty decent. He's got some good speed. He's been on Cincinnati. He's been out in Seattle. I think he was with Arizona and the Arizona Diamondbacks system. San Francisco, it looks like. So he's kind of traveled, but last year with the Reds, he had a pretty decent season in 2022, filling in from some time, and then last year obviously got a little bit more playing time. So what we're missing here is TJ Friedel, who's going to be out for a little bit. In center field, right now, we have Jake Fraley. And I'm not saying anything bad about Fraley. I just think of Fraley more as a right fielder than a center fielder. But he has, pretty good range and error and, decent arm. Right field is, I think, more of his position, or he could go over to left. Bat wise, he's got pretty average, contact, weight Ks, and a BABIP. His gap power is not, it's a little bit below average, but his power is average. he tends to start really strong and then he tails off like he did in 2023. But we'll see what he can do. The other option in center field right now in the Reds is Anthony Alford. Came over from the Pirates organization. He really has the range. He can play all three outfield positions. Got some speed. Where he's lacking is going to be in his bat. He has some, decent power when he makes contact, but he just doesn't make contact a ton. It looks like in 2023 he was over in the Korean baseball organization, the KBO. Had a pretty decent season for KT Wiz, 289 average over there, 17 stolen bases. We'll see how he does. Last, we have Will Benson out and right. Benson can play all the outfield positions. He can, I guess, pass in center field. I probably would never want to use him there. First base, I guess, is an option. DH is obviously another option, but he's got an excellent arm. Bat wise, he's got right now a little under below average contact, but he has the ability to probably bring that up to being an average contact. He has trouble avoiding Ks. I think is what's going to be the biggest problem. His really, really good gap power and power is average, but his eye is really good, essentially really great. Last year, he came over from Cleveland and had a pretty decent season for the Reds, 275 average, 2.2 WAR, 11 home runs and 19 RBIs. Kind of excited to see what he can do in the future for us. Take a look at the pitching staff. This has been really overhauled. Um, we have Frankie Montas, who came over from the Yankees. He has a pretty large salary now, 14 million. He's got pretty above average to average offerings. He's got a really good, decent control. He's got a bunch of good pitches that make him a starter. I'm kind of worried that the last few years he's been injured. Maybe he can you know, drop that 1.1 innings pitched last year, for the Yankees, 3 down in the AAA. So I'm kind of worried about this signing, but if he, pitches like he did in Oakland, I mean, we'll be happy with that as our number one starter. Number two starter is going to be Hunter Green, the fireballer, 80 stuff. The fastball and slider is really good. The changeup is really good. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher, which is not good in Cincinnati, but as you can see, he gives up quite a few home runs. And I'm hoping he will take and improve the control and improve the movement. We may even focus on that. Well, they've already kind of got him focusing on control, a little bit on movement. Stamina, they're not worried about working on that too much. But the control is something I would love to work on. But he's a really decent, number two pitcher and one that we want to probably build around for the future. Him and Nick Lodolo, who's injured right now. Another free agent signing we have is Nick Martinez. He came over from the Padres. He's been with Texas. He's been all over the place. 14 million scares me. Not gonna lie. For this, these ratings, he's kind of just a little bit above average or average. So hopefully this doesn't come back and bite us. But these guys could also, the season unfortunately goes in a way that we, are not expecting. We could potentially move these guys at the deadline and get some prospects. So one of our left-handers, Andrew Abbott here, he kind of burst on the scene last year. Got a 1.5 WAR, 21 starts, really good stuff. His movement's not too bad. It's pretty average for average control. Got a fastball, slider, changeup, repertoire. He is a fly ball pitcher, which in Cincinnati is a dangerous thing with our ballpark. But I'm excited about him and Green. Ashcraft, we came into last season really excited about him. He's an extreme ground ball pitcher. so he's not got a lot of stuff, but that's okay. The movement's good, controls, above average. He has some, pretty average offerings. Really, the third pitch is not the greatest. He's got two pretty decent pitches. Really, subpar changeup and a, below average sinker. Hopefully, we can get that pitch up a little bit, which I think they're working on in our development. We're working on, his movement and stamina. I'm not really worried about his fastball. We can actually take that down a little bit if we wanted to, and try to get like that sinker changeup up. We'll keep an eye on that. He had, a pretty decent year. He lost a lot of it to injury. Started out the year horrible, and then he, got hurt and came back and was a little bit better. Out in the bullpen, it all starts with Alexi Diaz here, the catcher. Really happy and excited with this guy. 27. He had 37 saves last year. Uh, he can be dominant, so I'm pretty happy with having him at the end of the bullpen. We have Fernando Cruz out in the bullpen, another high stuff you know type guy. A lot of strikeouts, as you can see, they're 98 and 66 innings last year. ERA is a little high, so hopefully that'll be something we have to watch. We brought in Emilio Pagan from the Twins. He's been with the Padres. He's a pretty decent, serviceable bullpen guy. The $8 million price tag kind of like makes me worried, but we'll see how this goes. One of our lefties, we have Justin Wilson, who comes back to the Reds from traveling around. He's been a journeyman most of his career, but didn't really pitch in the majors last year. He was with the Brewers organization, but he comes back to Cincinnati. We have him and Brent Suter here as lefties out of the pen right now. Suter was in Colorado last year. We have Buck Farmer, another pretty, serviceable reliever the last few years for the Reds, and Lucas Sims. He's got more of a elevated stuff, it seems, it looks like here, and movement is really good. So really looking for Lucas here. He was injured in 2022. Last year came back here in 67 games. I think he's going to be a decent, you know, reliever for us. We have TJ Antone, who was in 2021 toward his Tommy John surgery, toward his UCL. He was out all 2022. Came back late in 2023, and he looked pretty decent in 5 games. It looks like OTP has taken down. He used to have a lot of stuff, but Tommy John surgeries, things like that, can take that away from these guys. So really good. I hope he has a pretty good year for us. And you can look at the injured list here. We have Lodolo on it. High stuff. The movement is not there. He kind of had a disastrous 2023 after having a pretty decent 2022. Hopefully he can get back to more of that 2022 time, but he's going to be out for 8 to 9 weeks with a bruised shin. We have Williamson here, who was really, really high when he came over in the Seattle deal, and hasn't shown a lot of that. His stuff is not, it's below average control, below average stamina. The movement's average. He's going to be out with a sore shoulder for 3 to 4 weeks. We have Ian Gibelt, who is a pretty decent arm. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Sam Moll came over from the Oakland A's last year. Really good time with Cincinnati. Above average stuff and movement. Really excited to get him back into the pen. He'll be out 4 weeks. We have Alex Young. Another kind of just serviceable relieving pitcher here. He's been at the Giants and obviously was with the Reds. Matt McLean here, 8 to 9 weeks with a sore shoulder. this one as a guy that we're gonna want to build around, I think. I know that OOTP doesn't think his bat has a lot more to grow, but I think he has. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more growth out of him. But he can play second and short, much better at second base. Um, Last year had 16 home runs with the Reds at a 290 batting average, 3.2 WAR. He was one of the guys I'm excited to build around. Noel V. Marte, I'm sorry. He's going to be suspended for 80 games for violating the PED policy. He was going to be, in the mix for the infield. I think the Reds in real life were planning on using him at third base. I mean, he's got, pretty decent stats for third. He could play short. I think he can play second. So this would be, I think, in our development, we would probably, you know, next year try to get him into like a couple different positions in the spring. We might be able to do it during the year once he gets back after those 80 games. We'll probably have to send him down to AAA to get him ready for the season. We have TJ Friedel here. I like Friedel. He's got excellent defender. He can play center field for us. Um, Really above average bat here. He's really good at not striking out. He doesn't have a lot of power in it, but that's okay. I mean, he did have 18 homers last year, 3.5 WAR. I'm you know missing him in the outfield. I think in 7 weeks he'll be back. You can see some of our guys down here in AAA and Double A. Chris Overton here out 3 months. Reber San Martin is out 4 to 5, and then Edwin Arroyo is out for 6 months. Shortstop, really, I think would be a really good shortstop. Um, they game also likes him at second a lot and third, but he's going to be out. He's 20 years old. He came over in the Luis Castillo deal along with Marte here. So the minor leagues, as you can see here in our player development, we're going to be probably in the middle of the pack now. We, I think, had one of the better minor league systems in the game. But when you graduate Matt McLean and Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand, Marte even came up, and Abbott, all these pitchers that we had, when they come up, your system obviously is going to take kind of a hit and come back to the middle of the pack. But we have one, two, three, four right now inside the top 100 with Marte leading us at our, the top ranked prospect for us. He's 23rd overall. We have Rhett Lauder, who was last year's, first round draft pick at 57. We have Connor Phillips at 63. He's got really good stuff, above average movement. Control's going to be there, hopefully. I'm hoping, starting out in Louisville, he'll, continue to build and we can, have a place to call him up and have a place for him in the majors soon. We have Chase Petty in high A. He's at 67. He's going to be hopefully a pretty decent arm. He's going to have really good above average, really good control potentially. Stuff in the movement's going to be kind of average, but that's okay. We can get him up here. I think he's going to be, I think he's neutral. So he's not going to be a fly ball pitcher or anything like that. We have Cam Collier, who everyone had huge hopes for. He still could fulfill those, but the game doesn't think he's going to be much. 2.5 star potential. He was going to be a huge power bat, they thought when they drafted him. We'll see if that comes into play. There's Arroyo that we mentioned already. Sal Stewart, another third baseman. He's going to have potential to have a pretty average bat, except his eye is going to be above average. He could play third. He might be able to be moved across to the other corner here at first. We have Blake Dunn here, who's a little bit more of an advanced prospect in AAA. I think what's going to hold him back is his defensive ratings, right? Because he can only play center field, so his range is not really there. So we might be able to put him in a corner and get him some, experience in a corner position in left or right field, and that might be his way to the majors. Carlos Jorge is another shortstop, but one that is just going to be kind of middle of the pack. So he might make the move to second base sooner rather than later. So, I mean, we have okay players. And here's the catcher that I was mentioning, the young guy, Alfredo Duno. He's not going to be right now like his catching ability. He's got a good arm. Maybe we can get his blocking and framing up. That's not going to be there right now, but he's 18, so he has a lot of time to develop. He could, get some potential growth in those ratings and turn out to be a pretty decent prospect for us. We have Leon Richardson. He's going to be a pretty serviceable option as a starter if we need it. Hopefully, he can gain some experience in AAA. So that's the player development. I'm thinking, do I want to put more into the player development? I mean, I could probably afford to maybe take this up to 20 million, and hopefully that will build up some of these guys. We have no time right now to do anything with the development lab. As you can see, our payroll is not going to be the highest in the majors; is towards the lower end of it. And salaries, we got these four new guys here that added a ton of salary to our books here. We got Candelario for 4 years. The last one going to be a team option of 15, 15, and 12. Nick Martinez is going to be 14 and 12 with a player option for this year. Montas is a team option for the second year at 20 million. Emilio Pagan is 8 both years, with this one being a player option. So I'm really worried that we tied up all this salary with these four guys, but it may work out for us. So go ahead and let the AI assign the roles here for our teaching and running and all that stuff. Take a look at our scouting, which is a little bit above the maximum in scouting. We have a guy who highly favors ability. He has pretty good, stats all around, but he highly favors the ability part. So, okay, so let's get into this and figure our, button here to do 1 week at a time while we're in the season, 1 month at a time while we're out. We'll go ahead and get into simulating to opening day. And we'll start playing through opening day and get to hopefully as much as we can here. We'll go a week at a time and try to get to the end of April in this video. This video might be a longer video because we're going over all these people and everything. We're not going to have anybody on the top 100, but let's see here. We're 16th. We dropped a place. So what that'll be a thing we'll have to do is rebuild our minor league system. We'll go with this right now as our opening day roster. I mean, if we look at Louisville here, I mean, we have some guys that they're saying, could be called up. Nick Martini, real life opening day hero and everything. We got Jacob Herbites here, who offers nothing power wise, but has a pretty decent bat and really good, I think, And defensively, he can play, all three positions here. I think he can even play a serviceable center field. So if Alfred doesn't work out here, he could probably be one that we would call up. Blake Dunn, they say, is ready to be called up. Connor Capel here. Alan Serta, who not gonna, he's got a lot of in his eye and his power. I don't make a ton of contact. Can play all three, but I would not put him in center. So right now, I think we're just gonna stay with who we have here in on the opening day roster, and we will go ahead and get through this first week, maybe generating some predictions here. There we go. Well, we lost opening day. Lost two to the Nationals. And it looks like we got the last one. So we lose the opening series here. On top, looks like he was rocked on opening day. Take and send you down to the rehab. And head to the next week. Williamson is eligible to come off. But you want to, let's actually just put you down to I'm not going to send you on if I send him on a rehab assignment, he'll get mad if I don't bring him back up. So right now, 2-5. Not a great start. Alex Young, put you down to demote to AAA. Take a look at our schedule here. So after really the first week almost of baseball, we're 3-5. So not the best start here. Alfredo Ramos here. We just discovered might be something pretty decent. Dustin Campos might grow into something good for us. So go ahead and read the rest of those and take a look here. We got some guys not doing too bad. Rayleigh's kind of below. Espinal's kind of below here. Go ahead and play here to the next week. We need to we may want to, India's at our DH position right now. He's doing pretty good. Should we move him in the second? I don't think so right now. I think right now we'll leave it as it is. Oh, we're starting to claw back here. And we get an injury to Fraley, who's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks with a herniated disc in his back. So we'll go down here and probably grab Herbatiste here, bring him up, head to the lineups here, and we will probably put Fairchild up here. We'll move him off of there and there. Bring Alfred into center. Bring in Herbatiste here. And copy that. Paste the depth chart over here and work the lineups there. Check our mail here. Probably get just that. Head back to the home screen and we'll head to the next week. We're sitting at 5-7. So we're above 500 now. That's good. Midway through the month here. De La Cruz has got 4 home runs, 14 RBIs. Fairchild's got 4 home runs, 11 RBIs here. Pitching, Green's got hammered. Montas looked like he got hammered. Abbott, Ashcraft got hammered. I should have checked this before. Moderate, small ball. I'm more of a sabermetric guy, but the Reds have, quite a bit of like speed with Ellie, De La Cruz, and McLean and all that. So I think, playing that would send Moles off, send him on rehab. How's Gibble doing down there? He's got a 9 ERA. Leave him down there just a little bit longer. Hopefully he, corrects that and gets going. We're hovering right around first or second here, fighting the Cubs right now. Got a player of the week and on base streak by India. The draft is coming up. Got some fresh talent here coming in. Soto. Strand had a pretty good week at 278 base with 6 home runs. Okay. I'm gonna hit this and try to get to the end of this week here and get closer to the end of April. And we'll call this episode at the end of April. Bailey's off. We're gonna send you down to a. I've heard from OOTP videos themselves that when you have guys that get red injuries, you need to send them to a rehab assignment to get them back up and running, or they could potentially, get hurt again. Herbatis is not doing too bad in a backup role. Alfred isn't doing too bad. We go to the team schedule here. Got Texas. Spencer Steers out. 5 weeks. That's that's not good. Really hasn't even started his rehab assignment, so I really can't do that. I don't want to do that. Do Blake Dunn on the 40. Call up Blake. Head into our lineups here. And I guess we'll be starting Herbatis here. And we'll be putting Blake here and here. Now we run into the position that we don't really have. Let's see here. Espinal's doing good. He could fill in all these different positions. So we'll move India up here. Put Rios there. Put Espinal here backing up Ellie. And put Edwin here backing up India as our DH. Copy that. Bring it over here because we have no platoons right now. And we'll go ahead and ask him to fix our lineups. Going here, we still have, Hunter Green and Montas. Martinez came down. Ashcraft kind of is getting bombed. Not the best start to our pitching staff that I was, kind of hoping for, but we took the series from the Rangers. So Friedel will send you on a rehab. We got one more with the Rangers, and then the Padres. We go to continue our road trip out on the East Coast. We lost that game. Take one from the Pods. And we get a player development update. Okay, so let's see here. We got a lot of red here on Pagan, a lot of red on green as his stuff is dropping. Gold is dropping. Ellie's got some green here. Speed drops. Will Benson. I went too far down. Will Benson got two reds, two greens. Rolla, Triple A. Robertson, Triple A. Serta and Triple A's got drop. That's not good. That was one of his best tools. Cade Hunter's got some green. We got pretty good greens going on there. Jay Allen, a lot of hope for him in other games and got a lot of range, but I don't know if that will ever develop in any kind of way. Like he's got a 161 average right now in high A. Yeah. So take a look here. After the first month here, some of our standouts obviously is Ellie. He's only hitting 241, but he's got 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. Encarnacion Strand, 295, 9 homers. Candelario, not doing too bad. India kind of dropped off, but he's not doing horrible. Fairchild, our pitching staff is getting just hammered, especially the starters here. And we have, Cruz getting hammered here in the pen. And that's not good. But we were sitting at first, 17 and 14 after the first, month of play, really. So that's not a bad start. So this has been Red's Rebirth. I'm Last Son. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, check out my King of Puro save in Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. And I'll see you guys in the next video as we continue Red's Rebirth, trying to build the Cincinnati Reds into a title contender and maybe even get another big red machine on our hands. So, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye bye.